Hello, my name is Matthew Forbes from the Music Workshop Company. I'm going to take you through how to tune some instruments, how to play them basically, and also how to read the notated music for them. Here is how to read chords on a piano from something like a pop or a jazz lead sheet. You're given on the music simply the melody and the chord names, the chord abbreviations above them, and let me just explain what those abbreviations generally mean. I've got the opening of the Lennon and McCartney song Yesterday, where again written is only the melody. And so on. The chords above are what I do with the harmonies, which I will spread between my two hands, but generally they are what's going on in the left hand. The letter itself, as you'll see, the first one is C. That means there's a C in the bass, and that it's a C major chord. And a major chord is made up of the third and the fifth of that major scale, C major. So those notes, along with the tune, would be that first chord. The second one here is E. Now E major has a G sharp, that E major chord there. So we've gone from C and then to A minor, the min standing for minor. Sometimes it's only a small m, so anything with a small m is the minor. A minor, again, is the A at the bottom, but the third this time is the minor third, and the fifth to make the minor chord. So we've gone from C major to E major to A minor. Next we have a dash after the first chord with another letter after it. That means that the basic chord is the one at the beginning, so that's A minor, but the second letter is where specifically the bass line goes, and here it's G. So that's an A minor chord over a G bass. Now notice here I'm putting the chord in the right and the bass in the left. It's always a balance between the two hands, which works best in the sound and the voicings. And with the melody on top of that, we have the A minor over G to F to G, and here we have again a chord, the F chord over the C bass. So we have a C bass, but the F changing to the C chord. And again, G over B is the G major chord with a B in the bass, and so on. If I just play the chords with the two hands from the beginning, it's C to E, A minor, F, G, F over C to C, D7, D7. If you see just the 7 after the letter, that means that it's still essentially a major chord. So D major is the major chord of the F sharp, but the 7th is actually the minor 7th note, which in D is the note C natural. So we end up with that chord. That's known as the 7th chord, the plain 7th chord. We'll get on to slightly more complicated versions in a moment, but that's the 7. And then that goes to an F chord over G, so a G in the bass and an F chord there, to a C chord at the end. So along with the melody, those chords spread over the two hands come out as the harmonies from the information that you're given here. So putting it all together with the chords spread over the two hands and the melody at the top, this is how the chords and the tune go together. Now we've covered the major chords, which are the letter name on its own, the minor chords, which have the minor third and the fifth, and we've also covered the regular seventh chord, which is the major chord with the minor seventh away from the bass note. There are other chord symbols that come up. The major seventh is again the major chord, written often MAJ7 in shorthand. That is with the major seventh. So say we're in D, we have a D major chord. The major seventh above D is a C sharp, and that's the major seventh chord. When you see a chord, the minor 7, we have an A minor chord here. If it were an A minor 7, it would still be the minor chord, and adding the minor 7th as well. So from A to G natural is the minor 7, so we would end up with a chord of, that's the minor 7th. We have the diminished 7th, which is the chord where you go in minor thirds all the way up the scale. That is written simply with the letter and then a small 0 and the number 7. Sometimes it's always written out as dim 7. C dim 7 would be the diminished 7th chord with a C in the bass. And that is an overview of the chords that you may well find in your piano lead sheets.